As an ADHD woman, have you ever stopped to look at or investigate what creates a spark for your brain that gets it fired up? And do you know what shuts it down? In this video, I am sharing 3 unusual ways to get that dopamine boost to fire up my engine. And that spark is especially important when anything or any task has to do with money. It's something I've actually been doing since I was a child. And they might surprise you. Hi, I'm Zarina Bwali, ADHD and money coach. I'm also an unapologetic Gen X ADHDer. There is a sound I really like really, that reminds me of a moment in my childhood whenever there was thunder, like really loud thunder. I would sit outside our apartment on Boulevard Saint-Joseph in Montreal. My mom, she would cut green peppers, put them on a Scott towel, bring it to me outside, and I would just listen. Sit there and just go in my 8-year-old head, oh gosh, God must be really, really upset, because for me, the thunder was God's steps resonating. So, what was your wild story that you told yourself when you were a kid? And back then, I didn't even know I had ADHD. It was just this moment where I would get lost in my head, in my thoughts, in my imagination, and the inner world I created as an only child. I had very interesting ways of entertaining myself. There's really something I want to show you that is just amazingly beautiful. Look at the rainbows. Wow, 2 of them. Just magnificent. Thunder, lightning, rainbows, they're all things that spark my dopamine. That's really what it does. It's this dopamine boost that kicks in, and then I go back, sit down, and continue what I was doing. And for the longest time, I sincerely believed that the way I was doing things, the way I was, the way my brain operates was actually something that wasn't correct. Something that was by the book. But the ADHD brain has its own kind of manual. Learning how to figure out my money situation and digging into what was something so difficult, so boring, so not ADHD friendly, taught me a lot about embracing the way I do things and always asking, is this a way that actually works with my brain, or is it a way that works against it? That simple question that I still ask myself like a checkpoint really made a huge difference, because if someone would tell me, oh, you should do it this way, then I would just stop, zip my mouth so that I wouldn't blurt anything, and just think to myself, no way, because if I do it this way, it ain't going to work. So make sure you subscribe to the channel and that you share it with someone. Like, share this video with someone you think can benefit from learning more about how the ADHD brain works and how it's a magnificent, absolutely brilliant brain. Your brain is not broken, and your brain is not doing things in a way that doesn't make sense. As long as it makes sense for you, who cares what everybody else thinks? Really. Let me know in the comments what is or what are your dopamine generators. So, yes, I do interrupt my work to go chase thunder because I just know that with the spark that it creates, it also brings a healthy dopamine fix. So, whenever that happens, I realized and noticed that once I go back to what I was doing, I'm more alert, I'm more focused, I'm more attentive. And that spark is especially important when anything or any task has to do with money. Money doesn't spark the interest of the ADHD brain, and thinking that importance is something that will drive us to take action is just irrelevant proof in this case, because that's not how the ADHD brain is wired. The ADHD brain is wired differently, so it cannot do anything like anyone else or anyone that doesn't have ADHD. There is nothing wrong with doing whatever we have to do in a way that fits our brain. And because money is such a challenge, and I will explain why in a second, well, of course, we are going to experience different challenges when it comes to ADHD because money collides with almost every challenge that we face with ADHD. Money has a way of triggering those to an extent where we might find ourselves in a chaos that we can't seem to get out of. And I'm not just talking about impulsive spending. I'm talking about all these tasks that require so much effort and energy, and this is the reason why you are experiencing this. The executive skills that are required to manage money are the exact same that are often underperforming for the ADHD brain. Think organization, planning, time management. If you're time blind, well, of course, forgetting to pay bills is going to happen. Not because you're irresponsible, not because you don't care and think it's not important. Finding something important is not enough for the ADHD brain to actually get started. The engine is just not going to start because what fires it is interest. So that's why you need to find interest in what you are doing. And it's not always easy, but there are several things I've discovered on this journey from avoiding money to actually caring for it and giving it attention that really got me to make it a game so that it would be easier for my ADHD brain to engage. So yes, thunder, lightning, rainbows, they are all things that I've noticed really giving my brain this little dopamine boost that I need to just go back to what I was doing and doing it more efficiently. That's not something any typical person without ADHD would do, but what works for them usually doesn't work for us. I often say we have to do things the ADHD way because there isn't any other way. Whenever you are having a hard time doing something, there are several things that are going to have an impact on the intensity of the ADHD challenges that you're experimenting. Your environment has a huge impact. The food that you eat is, of course, going to have a huge impact on your brain. So take that into consideration. And when it comes to money, well, if you're looking for ways to make it fun, I have plenty of those. And thank you so much for watching. If you haven't done so yet, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I've also queued up the podcast episode that is going to tell you more about how ADHD and money collide. Until next time, make sure you keep on rocking that phenomenal ADHD brilliance of yours.